Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center, the place to be, where comic books and wrestling collide magically. Movies, TV shows, and pop culture we share. Get ready to rock, we're here to take you there. From superheroes to aliens in outer space, we've got the latest news and reviews in our embrace. Turn on your screen, let the neon lights glow. We'll take you back to the 80s. Let's rock and roll. Sci-Fi Center, where the legends come alive. Get ready to geek out, let your imagination thrive. We're diving into the past with a touch of modern flair. Sci-Fi Center, the ultimate pop culture lair.
Happy remainder of Wednesday. Welcome to the Wednesday Night Express. I'm your host, William, coming to you from Las Vegas, Nevada. Not the Sci-Fi Center on the weekday show. For those of you who are watching on either format, this is something that is relatively new. Right now, I have not decided whether I want to keep this horizontal stream or not. But for those of you getting notifications who are followers of the channel, you now have the option to watch the show in a horizontal format that is more optimized for a telephone, or you have the option of just watching this show just as it is. It's weird the way the viewership works. I see people jumping from back and forth. I know why they did it. I just don't know if I'm going to keep it or not. I'm going to wait to. I'm probably going to give it a week or so to get the feedback from the viewers to see what's best for them. If you guys like having both of them, then we'll keep both of them. If it's too confusing to know which stream to go to, because right now my setup is I'm centered for my normal show, but I've looked. When you decrease it and you go horizontal and you cut out the bars, it's a big difference in the way. So if I do indeed keep it, I'm going to have to put a cue, especially probably in the new studio, of where I am, so that I know where to be seated, so that even the people who are using the the vertical view, can get a not so goofy picture. Because I watched the show last night, and I'm all over here and here because I'm not used to it. So, but yeah, let me know what you guys think about it. So. All right. Planet Stufar. The Sci-Fi Center presents the Wednesday Night Express. It's the first time I've seen you here, so hello. Yeah, it was weird last night because I got the notification as I launched last night's show, and I didn't know what to do with it. You know, it's called a Mars program is what it's called. It's neat. Hello, Fourth Antonio Baker. What's going on? Once again, this is the second night in a row. This is the Wednesday show. It's Hump Day. Nothing really big major happened today in the world of pop culture. We had some big stuff going on in the world of news, but we're not going to get into any of that here. I don't know where Brad is. This is the second night in a row. Brad has been MIA, but he's on 3-hour time difference. Maybe it's just a rest thing. Hope he's okay. Hope everything's okay. I haven't spoken to him since the Sunday night show, because we did not do a show on Monday, and then yesterday was I was solo. So the chat gets deceived. I don't know. I heard about that, and I also heard that the CEO of Comcast is flying over to Saudi Arabia. I don't know what's up there either, so it's like, I'm so tired of this merger. I'm really not. Every time I hear Comcast Universal, I'm like, okay, are they just in it to screw whoever's going to buy Warner Brothers or Drive Up Twice? Are they legitimately interested in it? I'm not sure. The more I think about this, whatever merger sale going on, the less I want it to be Paramount. The horizontal chat doesn't get shown. Okay, I wonder if there's like a pop out option that you can look at it. So it's new to me. I'm gonna have to look at it because a lot of my fellow YouTubers they're getting this new too as well, and I'm asking them, how do you guys feel about this? What should you do? Stranger Things starts on Thanksgiving, so the 27th. Thanksgiving is on the 27th, so that's when it's split into three parts, and that is when the first bracket starts. So I'm dude, I can't wait. I can't wait. I mean, it looks just from the trailers, the two trailers that I've seen, that the intensity and the drama and everything that I loved about season 4 has been carried over to season 5, and it's the final season. So I have not tried Landsman. Landsman. I've heard about it, but I have not. It's about oil, right? I haven't gotten into those shows like Yellowstone and 1923. There's those shows. Just it's not that they're bad shows. It's just the topic just doesn't appeal to me, so I kind of stay away from those. So let's see, because I can't stand Larry Ellison for a whole different kind of reason. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't think it's a good idea for this consolidation to happen. I just think that it's just the wrong time for this. And for those of you who love the theatrical experience, I don't think this is a good idea. I just think it's just one more piece of leverage that the free market just doesn't have, and I'm not a big fan of it. Comcast wants WB because they want the IPs for the Universal theme parks they already have. Yeah, but that's a lot of money to get those, though. You don't have to own the company to license and profit off of those IP. They can do that. They can do that. They can set up a deal with that because Warner Brothers doesn't really do parks. So there's a licensing deal. A licensing deal will be far cheaper than assuming all of that liability. I mean, that's a lot of you're not just talking about liability. You're talking about debt. When you can just literally, and they'll, Zaslav especially will license those IPs too. You don't have to buy the company to do that, but you know, it's not my money. It's about oil cartels, superficial, ex-wife, hot daughter, bringing tea, so it's good. Yeah, but they don't prioritize it like that. I mean, there's a massive difference between what Six Flags generates and what they are versus what Universal Studios in Orlando and California. Universal Studios is a massive enterprise, and it pulls in a lot of revenue. It's not Disney revenue. Don't get me wrong. It's not 38 billion a year. But what is Universal Studios? Let's see, because we were looking up this the other day. Universal Studios. Man, I remember going to see Universal Studios as a kid. Wow. Okay, they got Universal Studios in Beijing, in Hollywood, in Singapore, in Japan, in Osaka, Japan, in Orlando, Florida. Let's see. All right, so just that one, just Universal's in Orlando in Florida pulled in 9.7 million customers. That's not $9.7 million. That's pretty decent for the site that they are. But there's so many of them. Let's see, Universal Studios Hollywood. Universal. This one in Hollywood's actually a studio, so it's not as much a theme park than anything. But let's see, Universal Studios Florida. I mean, Japan is. So Japan's attendance. This is as of 2023 at 16 million. So they're doing it on a scale where Six Flags. I don't think there's that many Six Flags even left, because I know they changed the name to the one that was in. All right, Six Flags. Okay, Six Flags is not owned by WB. Yeah, Six Flags is owned by Six Flags. It's um yeah, it's its own corporation. I don't think pre-merger. Hold on, let's make sure that I'm not right. Yeah, they merged with the Marriott Corporation. Merger equals. Yeah, no, Six Flags is independent. So, yeah, but like I said, Universal. I mean, I guess they could, but you see how Warner Brothers, and they're not particularly interested in the theme park business as much as those other two are. Yeah, but there's different Six Flags too, but the main big operator is it's independent. Let's see. Okay, now Brad is coming on. All right, cool. Brad had to put dirt in his coffin. Let's see how I look on this horizontal thing. It's weird, man. So yeah, right now I'm live in two places. Hold on, I'm gonna mute myself. Yeah, that's weird. It's just weird. But like I said, once I go over here, once I rotate everything around and I put the studio over here, there'll be a lot of things that it's just gonna look better. It's actually gonna, believe it or not, and once I'm done, and I've been saying this for a long time, but I've actually started the construction on it, and I got the tools and everything over there. It's actually gonna look like something a show should be coming from. It's gonna be lit bright. There'll be a background that's not just shells and belts and my Dodger hat. So let's see. Time to put a little dirt in Brad's eye. No problem at all. I try to support all communities, to be honest with you. I mean, I try to make this a place where everybody can come and be at any given time. So thank you for being here. Um, this isn't. It's actually over the window. It's what I use to cover the window now. I used this at the store when we were doing promos. So we would do a promo, and then we would do something like, for Aquaman, for instance. So if you go back to like 2018, um, yeah, I was on a seahorse. I was basically just sitting on a chair, but I put myself. I used a green screen to do promos on the green screen and for movie promos that we were doing. I bought it here. I was gonna use it here and put it behind me, but then I tried it out with the different backgrounds at the time, and I just didn't like the way it looked. I may do something like that over there, just to if I want to bring up a comic book panel behind me. I may use this. This is brand new. I never really used it before. I'm thinking about, like, when we do, because I'm going to add a show. I can't talk to it, specifically for the absolute DC stuff. So I'm going to have about a half-hour show for each absolute character and story. So we're going to have that coming along. So instead of like bringing up like doing this, bringing up either I'm just going to bring up Ric Flair because he's there. Bringing up Ric Flair as an overlay, something like that, and just talking over that. I might center myself on a different camera and have like you can fuck around with it. Let me show you real quick. Let's see, copy. If you go to settings, you can go to layouts. There's different layouts. There's hotkeys. There's recording. They've had a lot of different stuff here. So like here, like right now I have no background, but here I can do that. I don't like the kind of like way this looks right now because this is not integrated. Like literally, you can't see my earphones are disappearing and my hand looks like I'm a ghost coming through a wall. And it was like that with the green screen. However, if under the proper lighting, something like that could work. You know, something like that could work, and that would allow me to like let's use Cobra. And then some of the stuff has to be proportioned right too. So like right now I'm just there you go. Listen, I'm like, Cobra, but because I'm not properly lit, it doesn't separate properly. So I have to make it to where, but this is what I would want to do. I would want to bring up a comic book panel and explain to you the comic book panels. And let's see what we do here. Like, when I'm talking about comic book covers, we did a real short, like we're coming, but sometimes it's going to have to be proportioned right because these backgrounds weren't set to these aspect ratios. So like there. All right. So, but here the camera I have is centered because it's part of the computer that I own. Over there, I have the regular cameras that I can put on arms like this. So when I'm ready to show you Todd McFarlane version of Captain America, and so say I want to point and all that, then I'll be able to do that. So but that's what the green screen would help with. That's probably I don't think you should need a green screen for this, but I think that it's a lot better with the green screen. Like you can't see it over here. It's kind of tough. So yeah, see that's the green screen. So it really doesn't help much, but I'm going to test a lot of stuff out over the holidays to get to things where I want to. And then there's a lot of people who do this. They do the blur. This drives me crazy to look at. So then we just go back to none. So that's what the green screen setup was for. Okie I can answer that question. Predator, Disneyland, you could do it. You could do it. I was right where I was with the DCEU. I mean, I haven't. The problem is there's just nothing happening yet. I thought we were going to be rolling into lanterns like sooner than later. I thought January or end of December, January, February, we were going to be talking about a promo date. Now it appears, and I don't have this from a reliable source, or nobody really does, that this thing could last. We might not get lanterns until Supergirl. And in that case, that's a long time for me to be not talking about DCU. And I don't think, in my opinion, I think the interest would be there if they stoked the interest. If they handled their show a little bit more aggressively and weekly and covered more topics and were more aggressive with those things, I don't think I think people are willing and wanting to talk about this stuff. It's just like, okay, I got Superman in July, I got Peacemaker in August, and I don't have anything else until next summer. I don't even have a Creature Commando season. I don't have anything right now. And that's the one thing that I think could trip them up. It's not the whether you like the stuff or not, because the quality is there. It's the frequency. It's the output. That's what hurt their predecessors. not only were they putting out half-ass shit, but they weren't putting out anything to keep the rhythm going. So yeah, I can't really tell you if the interest is not there or not. I'm interested. What am I going to do? I don't have anything to talk about. Hello, Aaron 2000. Yeah, set it up behind you, little green. Yeah, but it doesn't. It looks like shit though. If the lighting is not right, and you have to have the lighting right, or else the screen. If the green screen is not lit right, then you get those patches and stuff, and that's I don't want to do that. I've seen people do that. Yeah, basically auditioning for a role in either WWE or TNA. Some of the stuff he said was silly, and I'm like, that's fine. People are like, "Oh, if Britt Baker and Chris Jericho leave, that's going to be devastating for AEW." Get the fuck out of here with that. When people say this shit, that's how I find out that they haven't been watching wrestling for a while. That they're probably new. Nobody leaving anywhere is going to devastate anywhere. Nobody leaving WWE is going to devastate them. Nobody leaving TNA is going to devastate them. Nobody leaving AEW, CMLL, AAA, none of these. It's been happening for decades. It's been happening for decades. Now, some people came up in the generation from 2001 to 2017 where WWE had a monopoly, and it just seemed like if anybody left there, it will be devastating to them. No, it's not. Especially now as you have AEW. You have other places to go, and then if you don't want to do those, you go indie. But talent comes and talent goes. It's been that way since I've been watching wrestling. Hulk Hogan helped build the WWF. But was that not Hulk Hogan in the NWO? Bret Hart. I mean, Chris Jericho himself has been in other places. Cody Rhodes has been in both. Contracts get renegotiated, offers are made, people make business decisions. It's been happening for decades now. No federation or promotion is going to fold up their tent because they lose a star. This is an opportunity for somebody else. Okay, you are high. This is probably a bad idea. I can just read the first sentences. I'm like, oh no. Can we have a Sci-Fi Center contest or just some Sci-Fi Center fan art appreciation segment? Can we do goofy art? Well, yeah, you can always do that. Yeah, have at it. And I'll put it up on the channel as long as it's appropriate. As long as it's, I mean, obviously, yeah. Joga draws us all the time. He's still mad at me because I didn't use his thing for Superman, but to be honest, it was actually too good. I needed something dorky. That's why I used what I used. But no, if you guys want to do something like that, that's fine. That helps build the brand and it helps show your artistic expression. Dagobah? You want me to find Dagobah? I have that playset, by the way. Dagobah. Now I'm going to start talking in yoga. Do my background, you change. See if this works. Let me find Dagobah, but until then, let's play around with the Enterprise. So if I were this one's actually aspect ratio, right? So I would change, I would change up my camera angle from when I'm over here, and then we could talk about the Enterprise. I could talk about engineering. I could talk about better lit, of course. We could talk about the saucer section. We could talk about that. So that's, like I said, that's why I'm going to do the studio thing. So hold up for a second. Here we go. Ask and you shall receive. It only allows you to do 8, by the way. So then you're like, oh, this one's actually pretty good. So there we are. Now we're in Dagobah. And what a perfect environment to bring Brad into. So, and then it goes away because you can only do it when okay, can you bring it up when there's something? Those are some of the things I never messed around with StreamYard because I was afraid I'd fuck things up and really didn't want to.
Yeah, sorry, last night, guys. It was another just Brad.
I am. So it's me. Okay, I can stay in Dagobah, but I'm not going to. Yeah, I figured. I'm like, at least he's not dead. That's always the precursor because you never know. People's turn up missing, and you're like, oh, what the fuck are they? Then you hear about them in the news, and I don't want to do like 40-year-old Savannah man found under train tracks. I'm like, oh, damn it.
Oh, I'm not 40 yet, so
this is February though, right?
No, February 27.
Oh, so you've been lying about your age this whole time. I understand. All right. Let's see. We're just rolling. So there you go. We're just rolling about some of the changes. StreamYard has made a vertical setup or now that
I saw that
on your phone.
When I came in. Yeah.
So
I can see like two of us.
I could actually have it on the thing, but it's distracting to watch myself.
I got rid of it. At the little hide vertical button, I hit that and it's like that's.
Yeah, I was just telling the audience or the chat once I move over here, once I'm no longer using this area, which is coming. And back the next couple of nights, like as we head into Thanksgiving, I am flipping a coin of whether I want to. I know I got to be at the center for a good amount because we got a lot of stuff to set up for Black Friday, but I also want to be here just getting this thing ready because once I get this done, I love my center. I love my place of business, and it looks cool to it's streamed from there. But sometimes it's tough. I work long hours everywhere else, so I want the studio over here to look like it's an extension of the center. It's going to have yellow and all that. It's going to have merchandise, but I have the camera set up on these little arms things here, like these. You can't see them, but they're over there where I can aim it at the merchandise. And then there's going to be one to where like this right now, this is the only angle I can give you, but there's other things that I have that I can show you to where, I'll have multiple cameras and, F1, F2, it just goes to the cameras that I want it to go to. And I'll also have an area that I can stand up, kind of like a weatherman does, but not everything that I'm trying to show you guys can be shown to you, sitting here. So if we're doing something where I want to either stand up, or if I want to use that subscreen like a weatherman, and I want to put a comic book passage or something behind me, I want to be able to do that. So I've got the cameras now. I just want I have the regular Logitech cameras, but I want my main camera to be one of those ones that looks like the camera, the Sony ones. They're kind of expensive, and I'm looking for one. I don't know if I need to be buying it brand new, but I do want one of those cameras for my main camera. So working on that. So let's see. Did you see the movie, dude? Did you even see this movie? I mean, it's okay if you don't like Predator Badlands, but I'm just wondering. Well, I mean, because you were kind of down on it before it even came out. So
I think the consensus among a lot of people is not Predator's got its groove back. Actually, it
had it back though. It only lost it for one movie, guys. There's only one bad.
But that was like it was like a 4-year gap from that to Prey. So
well, no, that's not why the gap happened though. Because the gap. Look at Predators. There should not have been an 8-year gap between Predators and the Predator. That's
I don't know why there was. I don't know why that took so long.
Because I just think that people, to be honest with you, people claim they will. Well, I just want them to hang from the trees and stab people, and I think eventually you have to grow the lore, or people will lose interest in it. Well, because I love Predators, but Predators was more. It was reversed, but it was a little bit more of the same.
Well, and Poor says he liked it. Some issues, but it was good. And actually, kind of perfect segue because I meant to bring this up last night before I did just fell over on the bed for the show, but because I was thinking more about the place that Badlands has in the Predator lore, and kind of what we were talking about, reviewing the show on Friday, or reviewing the movie on Saturday night about how factionalized the Predator culture is in terms of some Predators, they have the practice of the humans win. Okay, we present them with the trophy and we honor their victory, and we've got other Predators. It's like they don't take that defeat kindly and they beam them up, freeze them, put them in the Coliseum.
Yeah, that's gonna be a different tribe. I know
Well,
I'm playing it. This might be trolling, but yeah, I like LeBron James. I'm from Los Angeles. He's a Laker.
well, and
But
because I was thinking about that as it relates to Predators, also, because that also that there was world building, lore building in that, because you had the introduction of the super Predators, and they have like their own practice. That's okay. So you've got the Predators we had seen previously, where it's like they come to Earth, they hunt us, and then if the human wins, then that victory is honored. You've got the Predators we've seen in Dan Trachtenberg's mythos of they have if they've lost, freeze the human, and they thaw them out to fight them at a later time. But then we have like the super Predators, and they have like something a little bit more in between, which is like we beam the humans up, put them on this game preserve planet we have, and hunt them there. And I was thinking about like where does
Super
that kind of like
Predators?
like the three Predators, like the dudes like the black helmets, and they
Well,
have
yeah, that's just a different tribe. Each tribe has they had physical
Well,
differences.
but I mean, they've also got a little bit of philosophical difference there, because I was thinking, like, does that like fall under what some Predators would consider dishonorable? Because the idea is that it's
It depends on. And I'm thinking about this. It depends on what their code of honor is.
because
If their code of honor is just strictly competition, and there's no such thing as fair in that respect, and it's calling survival of the fittest, then that person who takes those people out of that battle that they won honorably and puts them together is doing that for the pure love of the hunt.
Mhm.
And that is part of their culture. We may think that that's a fucking raw deal. They beat you and you turn around and backdoor them that way, but they don't look at it that way because it's not a moral to them. It's the best, period. These are the
like,
best.
again,
These are us.
but you were saying, like, to some Predators that's going, we've seen that, you think that's
They
where
will
this
view it
went.
as dishonorable, correct?
And then that's what I'm thinking about with the Predators from Predators. Now, granted, I mean, they're picking they're very methodical, and like the humans they select in Predators, which is like these are all elite soldiers, or they come from like crime families or the mafia, or the yakuza or
Yeah, they were
whatever.
assassins.
Exactly. So, but then it's like if they win, then it's like, okay, they won, they survived the hunt, but now they're stuck on this planet, thousands of light
Well, we
years.
don't know that though because we never got a follow up to Predators.
That's true.
That's the
Yeah,
biggest crime. We never got because by that time, I just don't. I think that the one thing that did set the franchise back, to be honest with you, was
was not
AVP.
falling on that.
Well, that with AVP, because by the time you got to 2010, you had Rec Room, which turned me off.
That was 2007.
Yeah, but you had 2004, and then you had
2004
2007.
and
So
then
3 years
10,
later,
yeah.
you had a movie that was much drastically different and totally unrelated to those. I just think those two movies lost a lot of people, more people than they gained.
And see, yeah, that's something I hope that Dan Trachtenberg really builds on. It's not just what we've already seen of the world building and what we've seen of the Predator, but again,
Well, we've never done it before.
yeah,
This is
but
the
like,
first time we've done world building.
yeah, but it's like it's like, okay, well, like, how does everything with Predators? Because we've seen like Arnold and Danny Glover and Amber Mid Thunder Frozen, but like, what about Royce?
We don't know. We don't know if he's even using them.
That's but I mean, I would be inclined to think he probably would. That's something he would want to tackle.
I would be inclined to think that he would have revealed it already. But I hope that that's the case, that it's just another movie, because we don't have another Predator movie for a while.
And he also talked about too, because he's doing the interview cycle. Apparently there was some talk initially with Badlands about Aaron Myth, Nadu from Prey, like she might, there was talk about she was going to be like the Predator sidekick initially in Badlands before they decided on Tia, the Whale.
Wow, I'm so glad that they decided.
Yeah, I think that's probably in the long run.
Horrible.
In the long run, yeah, because I mean now they've kind of got more options open to them, where they've got like a lot of the like classic protagonists. They've got them.
And she wouldn't have fit in the story. It wouldn't have fit in the story. It would have been forced. The tour guide that Tia was much more appropriate for this movie. The next time you see Abernathy done, it should be in the movie where you see all of them.
Like you said, she almost just spilled the beans in that one interview of just like, oh, I'm coming back, and now she's not in this movie. She's not in this movie, but I mean, obviously, it's clear that it's like they've got more plans for that character.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the next. But when are we getting? There's no talk of. I know it's coming. But I don't have any details.
And they haven't dated it yet. They haven't titled it.
Is it going to be animation? I mean, I think animation would be the easiest because you don't have to be age.
I think that's like you could keep this up what they did this year with having an animated have one animated one live, then lead in. I think they should keep that going out because again, this was really, these two between them just added so much to Predator. They had this. I mean, like I said the other night, there's more world building between these two than there was 20 years prior in Predator.
And we're ready for the world building. The thing about it is now what he has done, like I've been saying since this has begun, is by him taking this risk, Fede Alvarez can continue to build the world that Ridley Scott meant to build.
Did you see that we are getting an Alien Earth season 2?
Yeah, we discussed it last night. I was trying to figure out why that took so long. Should have been season. I mean, you have a story that is, and you knew your story was not going to be done in one season. Why did it take so long to announce it? I'm happy that it's announced. I hope, because I need something to wash the taste out of my mouth from that last episode. That last episode it wasn't horrible, but it just wasn't a season finale. And now we know that they haven't even started production on it yet. So it's lovely.
By the way,
what else has been going on?
Did Aaron also versus Reed Aztec is finally Predator Badlands, aka Batman Animated Series 90s, which in Wynn's opinion is sanitized version of Bats. Well, what is Badlands?
Not at all. Not at all. Predator Badlands is not. Dude, what is sanitized about Badlands? Let me tell you some of the shit that happens in Badlands. Okay. First 20 minutes, one of the Predators gets decapitated. After they have humanized him as not just a monster with green blood, as a brother, as a friend, as someone that Deck saved, someone that Deck is connected to and has a relationship to, then you take his head off. Okay. The androids. Now, they're not the goon androids, but the androids they're looking at you. They're both of Thea and Tia, whatever the name of it, they were connected to you. The beast, the callus. Yeah, it's a otherworldly whatever, but the same thing that you would see if you saw an animal here on 4 legs on Earth, it's something like that would happen to that. You would have that same feeling. They built a connection to where that's not sanitized. They're killing. They're dismembering.
But it's not red. It's not red blood. So it's all okay.
But red blood. And I understand it's white, white fluid, and it's green blood, and it's whatever the beasts are bleeding. But once again, it's not about what the constitution of the being killed. It's whether you view them as something that you can relate to. Once you make a character relate to, it doesn't matter. If you kill an alien off of Star Trek, that's not a human. You related to them as a human would. Now they're dead. So you saw things die on the screen that were really, you kind of got attached to for whatever, and you knew that green shit was his blood. Whether it's red or not is not relevant. You knew that was when a head leaves the body and something that's two of the main characters lose their heads in the show. So I wouldn't call that sanitized version. Now, when you're talking about Batman the Animated Series, that's sanitized. They had to. There is no way if they want you. To me, the worst decision was the fact that you made a kids show about Batman, but that's fine. It happened. But that's sanitized because you could not put the Batman that was in comics in that shit was traumatizing teenagers. So you couldn't put that in front of kids wearing diapers and Warner Brothers for kids. You just couldn't do it. You had to sanitize it. My philosophy is no matter what it is, and same thing with the X-Men. If you have to change something to the point that much, then you may as well just make something new. Because now I look at this version you've created, it's nothing I can relate to. I mean, like I said, I went from the Killing Joke to Batman the Animated Series. How do you think that? It's literally like you walked up to me, you took my hamburger, you took my salad, you took my grown-up food off of there, and you gave me a jar of baby food. That's what that was to me. So, but hey, I'm glad you guys love it. I know some of you, that's all you had. That was your doorway, and guess what? I'm glad you came through the door. I'll leave it there.
But I don't know if I met Aaron from Aaron the other day, but Mayor Aaron has the other day saw
shit up here.
Has seen Predator Badlands. Well, we could. Really dug. But yeah, but which.
I'm not. I hear that comparison. People are using that comparison to Baby Yoda to kind of.
Well, it's like the last scene with
it, but
the last scene with Bud, kind of like really, and we won't spoil it for those who haven't seen it, but
the fuck are you doing?
There's something really very not Baby Yoda like in the final scene with Bud in the movie.
Yeah,
but
no, because but what Baby Yoda is always doing is kind of lined up for this. But those characters are there to show you that there is more to that species than just sadistic hunting. There's codes there. There's honor there. Even if not everybody is recognizing the honor, it's still there. It's just like when you Native American tribes. There's certain Native American tribes that are in Dakota that are going to do things different than regional ones. There's different things that happen. If you go to any country, you go to the continent of Africa, there's thousands of different tribes that do things thousands of different ways. So I'm glad that they showed the scope of what this species could be. And that, like I said, that is just that I'm so happy that it paid off, because I want Star Wars to watch this. I want Star Wars to see this.
And that's where I'm really interested to see, like, how do the Predators, the Yautja in Predators, and their practice.
I need to find out the species though. By the way.
What is what's the hierarchy or the gradation of honor, or the interpretation of honor among Predators? Like, how is it, we've got because it seems like we've got certain sects and certain tribes. It's like they only hunt on Earth. It's like they only, and we especially saw that in the first couple of movies, and where they have a lot of rules where it's like they hunt on Earth. They only hunt prey that can fight back. Like we see, like if you're pregnant, they leave you alone. If you're unarmed, they leave you alone. So, and then we got the other predators like, oh, we're taking you on our turf. And again, in Predators, like, if you win, well, you win, but you're stranded here unless there's something else to play we haven't seen.
I don't believe that to be the case because we never found out. But I would, Mr. Childy, I would rather see an army of Native Americans and other settlers versus a group of predators, dogs and animals.
Prey. That was Prey. Yeah, Prey was like, because that was fighting the Comanche. So,
let's
see, this is where it's like, I mean, this might sound kind of wild, but like since seeing Badlands, like I've just had this idea in my head.
No, okay. I'll respectfully disagree here. Yeah, it wasn't about Deck. I think you meant Deck is dealing with his emotions. It's probably type. It automatically autocorrects, but before it equates to something like Michael Myers, no, because Michael Myers is a killer. That's established. That is all he is. He's a killer.
He's not a warrior. He's not a hunter.
It's not like we've only seen a certain side. That's the only side of Michael Myers that is. This is a multifaceted culture that is capable of different ways of doing things. Just because you haven't been shown them doesn't mean that they don't exist. In the entire time that the Predator has been a franchise, we've now seen different forms and different ways that they do things. Whereas Michael Myers is one guy, and he's fucking crazy, and he's supernatural. So that's not an apt comparison, I don't believe.
Aaron's Aaron. I love the end of Predators. Are they friends of yours? No, that's my. Yeah, we'll leave that alone for anyone who hasn't seen the movie yet. But that does set up, a lot for where the next one could go. And see, this is what I was saying a minute ago. It's like I had this this could be like so crazy, so risky, but this just might work. It's like I just had this idea in my head now since between Killer of Killers and Badlands. Like, what if, because what we see Deck do in this movie is like he forms his own tribe. Let's say for those who haven't seen it, he's kind of and there are non-predator allies he has. And so one direction I think they could go is like, and we've kind of seen this happen in certain instances, is what if some humans actually kind of are integrated into his kind of makeshift tribe
Not
here.
yet.
And what if some of those humans are like Dutch and Mike Harrigan and Royce and
I don't know. You're gonna probably end up having to get to that too, because there's going to be a predator or predators who do not approve of these people kidnapping these people and taking them out of their world. It's not their way. But I just, like I said, this, as long as he does not make the same mistake as AVP. Once I saw those humans with predators, I was ready to get up and leave. Batman the Animated Series. Well, depending on who you are and how you came up, that's a true statement. If you were a little kid or maybe not even born and that's the first Batman you saw, then it's timeless. I can't dispute that. If you were like me and 16, 17 years old when you first saw it, it's not timeless. And remember, I was a teenager, and I didn't take in the 80s and 90s we were kind of protective of Batman, because as kids we kind of had to defend, because every time you mentioned Batman, people would start thinking Adam West and all that goofy nonsense for us at that age. So when we're talking about, once again, here we go again, we just rehabilitated Batman. We just got him from doing the go-go dances and stuff, and we got them telling and writing Batman stories and doing that, and here we come with a cartoon that does nothing of that stuff. So yeah, but if you were of age when you saw that, it's not timeless. If you're like a millennial, maybe, to me, as somebody growing up with Christopher Reeve Superman, that's timeless. Even though it doesn't age well, it's timeless because it's the first Superman I saw. But I was damn near a few years away from being a grown-ass man before you showed me this cartoon. So it's never going to be timeless to me. I appreciate the work that was put into it and the fact that it is some doorway to come into the Batman lore. But as far as like what they were trying to achieve, I feel philosophically against it 100%. This is kind of spoilery, Mr. Chill Dude. What's the connection to the film? Well, not this one. Like I said, one way or another, I'm kind of spoiling it. I'm lost. I didn't see Killer of Killers. I saw it on Monday. Go see Killer of Killers. It's
there's nothing narratively that's like directly linked between them, but there's certain element. Again, a lot of it relates to like the predator culture.
There's one particular predator.
Exactly. But there's elements we see of the predator culture in Killer of Killers that sort of that play that have like connective tissue into what we see here, and it really is like the two of them. But the way I look at it is that Trachtenberg, like between Killer of Killers and Badlands, like he's laid the foundation for, or his mandate really was like he really wants to put a lot of new material about the predator culture in place, and this is what you can build upon now going forward. So I would say it's like, again, it's not with one.
You don't have to have seen the other movies to watch.
Yeah, exactly. With one exception, there's and even that exception in Badlands,
it's not really tied.
It's not critical, but otherwise, yeah, there's no like characters that go from Killer of Killers to Badlands, but there are themes, there are elements of what's established of the Yautja culture that carry over.
To wrap it up, I would watch Killer of Killers.
I would too.
If you're interested enough to watch Badlands, because Killer of Killers is better than Badlands. William, you haven't seen what are you? Is the brain machine not the memory machine not functioning? At what point did I ever say that I had not seen it? I've seen them. Saw them decades ago. You weren't even alive when I saw them. I've seen all of Batman Beyond as well. I don't form my opinion on bullshit. You know, I use them as references to. Hell, I've had them playing in the store over in the As Seen on TV section because that counts as an As Seen on TV. I don't have Batman, the Batman the animated series and Batman Beyond comics in the Batman Tower. They're in the As Seen on TV section because I don't want people getting them confused with actual Batman stuff. So don't assume just because I don't like something I haven't seen it. I saw it and I don't like it. Listen, we watched it. Me and you watched it, and you came out the other end of it, and I came out another end of it. That's fine. But no, I watched it. Like I said, like this that came out in the 90s, dude. Hello, Jose. What's going on? Yeah, and I said this during my review. And I said this right after I came and did my show. This Predator movie is not going to be for everybody, but that's okay because the way the universe is being expanded, there is going to be something for everybody who enjoys Predator. I can clearly see why there's. But if you came up to me and told me you didn't like Badlands, I know why and I understood why. I appreciated it, but once again, it's I can see, and he had to know. Dan Trachtenberg had to know that this was going to have that effect, and he still did it, which is what.
And have you seen that story that's been shared where like he actually ran the whole idea about making the Predator? By the way, hi Bell Rev. Did you see the story where he ran the concept of the Predator being the hero? He ran that by James Cameron because he asked Cameron like, "Hey, you made a Terminator a good guy. I had this idea of making a Predator a good guy. What do you think about that?"
James Cameron thought it was a horrible idea.
Yeah, and they saw that in the finished cut. He said, "Oh man, I was dead wrong on this. You were spot on."
Yeah, people listen. I think the biggest thing you could do, the best thing you can do when it comes to this whole internet and this whole pop culture discourse is to allow people to evolve and be willing to evolve yourself. You know, you got one of the Academy Award winning $1 billion drawing director admitting, saying, "Hey, you know what?" And that's why it's so important that Dan Trachtenberg gets the leeway to take these risks. So I was happy you saw that. Just to be clear, my favorites are Predator, and Prey. Bob, that's going to be in a lot of people's top.
Yeah, like I said, and now it may because the way I've been ranking them going into Badlands, I'd said I can go back and forth on my number one being either Predator or Prey.
Yeah, to me, the first two are the best two for me. But it's
pretty much like it's like everything Dan Trachtenberg has done so far. It's like that's that and the original is like is just up there. That's the best of Predator. That the original Trachtenberg and Predators. Those are the peak of Predator in my opinion.
See, I have all of Trachtenberg's movies behind the original one. But I've also explained that we're not talking about,
it's
having a
centimeters.
bad option. You're talking about, like here's mine. I read. I don't think you might have been on. I don't include the AVP films. I'm just not going to do that to myself. So Predator, Predator 2, Prey, Predators, Killer of Killers, Badlands, and just because the Predator has to be on there because technically it's a movie, but it's
here's the thing about that. Like what would you say in your estimation what went wrong with the Predator? Like where did it go wrong? Like you're reading what were his biggest missteps?
It tried
to
to
hear yours.
Play on the nostalgia and the connection to the first one. It tried to be funny. The story was awful. The dialogue was awful. And it was horribly casted. That's one of the worst casted movies I've ever seen. But even an awesome cast wasn't going to. The story, the biggest problem with the Predator is the story. Is the story and the way they handled the Predator lore. They handled the Predator lore like we were trying to watch a 1987 movie. That's literally that movie in all the wrong ways. That movie's straight out of 1987, and its story was basic. It was just dumb. It was. There's no angle I can look at that movie and say this wasn't a colossal fucking waste of time because it was on every angle.
Well, I mean, like a lot of it for me was like it was kind of just play by numbers. It's like there was not a lot new it did with Predator. It's just like
if it were pay by numbers, it would have been okay. They created their own coloring book and just said fuck it. We're not even going to look at the colors of the crayons. We're just going to We're not even going to do it.
Just predators hunting, slaughtering people. And they have like
that would have been okay. That would have been underwhelming. They went stupid.
Yeah, definitely.
If it was just a basic, you know what, this is just another run of the mill.
Well, and then the thing they add at the end, like the only like lore wise contribution it makes is just we're at like okay, the one Predator is defecting and like giving you guys like the Predator Iron Man suit. Like,
Oh my god!
fuck am I watching?
Guyver, just the whole movie was just bad. I could say this one thing if it was just a disappointing carbon copy, you know what you expect, but this was not only that; it was just bad. It was dumb. It tried hard to be dumb. It's like, wow, dude.
Well, and like I remember like telling one of my reactions. He talked about like also like really tried to be comedic.
Keegan Thomas or Keegan Michael, whatever his name is.
Keegan Michael, yeah, it was.
Oh,
like he's hilarious. I love him.
He did not need to be in that movie.
But the and this is like maybe a little bit like dated now, this response, but one of the things I said coming out of it, the Predator initially was that it's as far as like the comp relief that it tried and largely failed to incorporate. I said it was basically the humor was like an MCU movie if it was telling Deadpool jokes, which now we've seen one that did, and now we've seen one that did that and did that well. So
yeah, but the Predator, like I said, it was just a horrible movie. But technically it's a proper Predator movie, so I had to put it on the list. AVP was the only thing that would stop AVP from being on that list would have been the Predator, or on the bottom of the list would have been the Predator. Yeah, 2018 Predator is an awful movie. That's what he did. He was in Killer of Killers. That's what they were fighting in. Those two guys, the two brothers that were fighting, or those two friends that were fighting. AVP, but not by much. They're both awful movies in my opinion. Oh, I didn't even read this. I'm sorry. Hear me out. An Ocean's 11 style cast film of mercenaries like Alan Richardson, Statham, Idris Elba, Tom Hardy, CNN in the future versus Predator. That has a lot of potential to be a really kick-ass scenario, but there is also a lot of potential for that to be like the worst parts of Expendables. So we got to be careful. But if you handed that over to Dan Trachtenberg, I think we'd be all right. Let's see. ABP Requiem. Ugh. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Bell. I hate that movie with a passion. I don't hate it as much as The Predator or Requiem, which was god awful. But that's why I appreciate the way Dan Trachtenberg is handling it now. Everything that went wrong, that could go wrong with the pairing of these characters because of the way it was handled did go wrong in those two movies. But hey, if you liked it, you liked it. Yeah, I think that, and I don't think it's entirely that, but I think there's enough of that to the point where I'm glad enough people came out and saw it to let everybody know that there's real estate to tell a story here. Just because we're telling the Predator story this way doesn't mean yours is gone. There's still room to tell that Predator story, but we just got to keep growing. We got to grow outward, not inward. Sam, yeah, we've said this over and over again. I hope we do see that. I hope we do see that. Yeah, I saw it when it first aired. About what was it? Band of Brothers about 10, 15 years ago. I loved it. Easy Company, intense show. There's not too many things that capture World. And from what I can tell, and from what I've heard, that capture World War II, the essence of World War II is like things like Private Ryan and Band of Brothers. So. It depends on who's writing the story, because Batman can tech up. If he can take on a Kryptonian, he can hold his ground against a Predator. I don't think so, but I know it's coming. I know eventually. I hope it's down the line after we properly established it and not just throwing the two toys together in the same sandbox. Freddy Alvarez is how he's producing the Alien line, and Trachtenberg is doing with this line. I would be okay with not seeing it for a long time, if at all, because I think the proper foundations need to be built there. And I think if we're going to do this, you need to use some of that lore from Prometheus. Just throwing the xenomorph in there is going to be pretty half-assed. But I don't think they should, but I know they're going to. And that being said, I just hope they do it. They handle it with care. I had no problem with Superman animated series. Any version of it, the 90s version of it, the latter version of it, I had no problem with Superman animated series. And people asking me, William, well, why do you have a problem with Batman animated series, but not Superman animated series? Because I thought that Superman, and I watched that whole series too, was the way he was portrayed in animation form was largely consistent with what Superman was and the tone of what Superman is. You did not have to change Superman for that cartoon. If you watch that cartoon, you see that Superman's basic code, morals, demeanor, tenor, it was consistent with what was coming off the page. They did not have to transform him to make him suitable for kids. Superman, by nature of what he is and how he's been presented for decades, was suitable for kids right out of the box. Batman was not. And in order to make Batman into that, they had to refine and neuter what Batman was. They basically transformed the character to make it suitable for kids. They did not have to do that with Superman. So I had no problem with Superman, the animated series. William, do the Predators know that the engineers created humanity? I don't know. They may not view humanity as anything that they've, no, they may know. It might be like Alien versus Predator in the Dark Horse comics, where the engineers, they work together to create, species for them to hunt and cull. Oh yeah, you had a lot of people. You had a lot of people in Band of Brothers. Son of William. Also, HBO didn't disappoint with their TV shows, intros, and like I'm not. They never do. There's just, like I said, I love what HBO has turned into as far as that high level shows. What if Ridley Scott does it? That's fine. Him and Fede Alvarez. I think he picked Fede Alvarez, so they work together very well. I think they are on the same page. So but Ridley Scott's also 88, 89 years old. He might live another 20 years, but then he might drop dead, and then 24. No. So you would need somebody like Fede Alvarez to roll. Mr. Chill, my list is Predator, Prey, Predators, Batman, Dead End for me, and my list was just. Oh, you're talking about okay, gotcha. William, the Predators, no enemies exist. Why not be allies for them? Well, okay, we're assuming that when you talk about the Predators, you're talking about a monolithic society. We've seen now that they're broken up into different casts and sets and may be on different worlds. So when you say the Predator, there might be a group that might be your allies, and there might be another group that might think, we don't like you. So you'd have to find out. We have to find out a lot more about their society or societies in order to be able to make that determination.
Oh, you're gonna love this one from Aaron. I love the alien Easter egg in Predator Badlands. I assume you're talking about the presence of Weyland-Yutani. It's heading in the direction of another AVP, but this time there's a world building process that's happening for it to be
exactly. And it shouldn't be. If we're going to cross this, we just can't jump into the xenomorph. And the way Ridley Scott has designed this, the xenomorph is just the first thing that you saw in a big mosaic that he was trying to tell you. We just were like little kids so fixated on that. We never really allowed him to finish the story. And now he's going to get the opportunity to do that through these latter movies that are going up.
Another thing I was thinking of too is like, with Trachtenberg, like running it by Cameron, like you did this with Terminator. I want to, humanize and the Predator and make him a protagonist. This would be, I don't know how you could do this, but do you think they could do anything like that with Alien?
No, not with the xenomorph, because by design it just wouldn't work.
Because they're a hive mind.
Well, that, and you can't really look at it. Yeah, you can't really relate to it. You can talk to a Predator. You can talk to a Terminator. Their inner mouths is just basically to put your brains out of your head. So
pretty much, yeah. Well, I mean, it's like the thought. Do you think the thought crossed my mind, or it's like, would anybody like would anybody like come with that pitch? Like, okay, we've now seen hero Terminators, hero Predators. Let's get the third one in there. Let's get the trifecta. It's like, man.
Yeah, I don't think so. Anything can happen, but I highly doubt that would ever happen.
I mean, the closest I could think maybe you could like see Alien, like through the perspective of the xenomorphs, in the sense that of, like, they're trying to escape, like being captured by Weyland-Yutani or something like that.
But see, their minds are not, they're not set up. The Queen is, but the drone is just that, is a drone. It doesn't have that type of that's why when it's separated from the Queen and it's not within the presence of the Queen, they're just feral. They just kill for no real reason. When they're in the presence of the Queen, they gather, they hunt, they don't kill because they're communicating with the Queen. That's why Newt wasn't dead. That's why certain people are kept alive and certain people are just killed outright. So that mental connection to the Queen is that's the only thing that keeps them from being just completely out of control. But there are other aspects of Ridley Scott's world. There may be people that we can talk to, the engineers. They were talking to the engineers for a couple of seconds before you got his head taken off. So there are other aspects of the alien culture that might work for, but with the actual xenomorph,
Craven versus Predator would go off. That's not gonna happen. Maybe like a comic book thing, but it's like I don't see that.
Well, they've done it in the comic books. If you look at Spider-Man Predator against the Marvel Universe, it's
they've done that. Well, they've
done
that with they've had DC and Marvel. They've had Superman, Batman, Spider-Man all fight Predators.
Yeah, but the way they did it in Marvel was different because they used Craven. Craven is the ultimate hunter, so they actually respected him.
You played Terminator versus RoboCop back in the day.
I vaguely remember playing that in an arcade. RoboCop kind of faded away from me. Like midway through RoboCop 2, I was like, I don't want to.
I love RoboCop 2. I love RoboCop. The series for me is the first two.
The series for me is the first one,
and that's another one. I'm wondering, like, okay, now he's seen like this revival of Alien Predator.
Let's not do it.
I'm not saying like cross them over with Alien Predator, but like
don't even revive it.
I mean, they tried a couple times.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there was at one point, I think the one I was really looking forward to was when Neil Blomkamp, at one point he was attached, and I think it was gonna be like RoboCop Returns. It was gonna be basically like a retcon sequel, where it's just gonna like follow the original directly, and I think there was even talk of Peter Weller coming back for that. So that would have been interesting.
That'd have been an interesting flop because I just like you got to be careful. I always say time and a place for these things. Everything has their time and place, and when you try to run past the clock, when your time's up and you try to keep running.
Well, the tricky thing with RoboCop is that like reviving it from modern times is that when the first one came out, then this is why I hold the second one in high esteem, because like stuff that happens to the second one has happened in real life with Detroit. The first RoboCop initially, it's when the first couple came out, it's societal satire. I mean, the first one in particular, like really, you get like a real Dark Knight Returns vibe from it, because it's deconstruction of just what Verhoeven saw in like the Reagan 80s and the capitalist culture of America of the 80s, and the tricky thing about like trying to do RoboCop today is like, so it's like everything in RoboCop except for RoboCop has basically come to pass. So like people are living that now. It's like the Matrix. It's like I said the other night. It's a time and a place. Not everything needs to be brought back. Some things need to stay where they're at. Some things that need to stay in the 80s. Some things need to stay in the 90s. Crow. Some things just don't. Not everything needs to be reimagined. I'm sorry you weren't there, but there is something to the time and the place. There's no more movie that I feel more entrapped in the 80s than the RoboCop movies. And because time progresses and it's just not special anymore. Trinity, picking up a telephone at a telephone booth to get transferred back to a ship. I always said a 5-year-old has more tech in the phone that they're playing with today than the entirety of the Matrix trilogy. The first, it just doesn't fit. It was wondrous then. It was, Matrix was groundbreaking then, but that ground's been broken. It's been trampled over. It's been redone. It's been remade. There's grass growing it now. It's just not everything needs to be dragged. And RoboCop is the absolute, and they tried it. Well,
and it
yeah,
went exactly like
the
it,
2014 one. That was shit. It's like that was yeah, it was.
How did you make a good one though? That would be special.
Well, but see, but they had good ideas though. I thought with 2014, like
Was
the
the
big
Time Machine one of them?
no, but one of them was the idea that with what they were doing with Ed 209 is the real theme that they were playing on with 2014 was the idea of like drone warfare, and that's what they really kind of turned Ed 209 into in 2014. It's like this. I thought it didn't work, but I feel like it could have with better writing.
There was no chance if it can't have. You're doing this shit in the video game age. Like I said, you can't recreate that wondrous atmosphere that these movies were created in. You know, and just because individuals feel good about a movie that they saw back in a certain time doesn't mean it's going to work in 2025. That's where you have to pick and choose these projects wisely. Fucking bury RoboCop. Whoever thought, be honest with you, I hope that person has gone on to better things and made better decisions. That's one of those when somebody comes into your office with a pitch, you look around at the world and you look at what they bring you, and you're like, no. Somehow Hollywood has forgotten how to say no like they used to. Not everything needs a yes. Not every project needs to go. RoboCop, that remake was fucking
like Jimmy
dumb.
Olsen getting his own show.
But see, Jimmy Olsen's not getting his own show based on just Jimmy Olsen. Jimmy Olsen getting his own show is basically with the support network that you'd have with the DCU. RoboCop's just some shit you drug from the 80s because we couldn't let go. Listen, people, as a child of the 80s, this is what I need to have happen. Let go of the 80s. It's okay to let go. Remember one of my least favorite Indiana Jones movies, the third one, where Sean Connery is holding on to Indiana Jones because he has the chalice, he has the Holy Grail, he doesn't want to let it go. And remember, that's probably the best part of that movie is where he's telling him to let go, and he actually calls him by his preferred name, let go. That's what I need y'all to do about the 80s. It's okay to let go of the 80s. Hey. And that's coming from a relic of the 80s. I enjoyed it when I was there. It was fucking awesome.
Where was one Peter Weller came back with it. Well, yeah, but that's the other thing too. I mean, he's like, it's a lot to ask a dude of that age, like climbing that metal suit again too. So
why would you
which like
think about doing that?
Watch the making of, or like listen to like him talk. And by the way, Peter Weller, it's like that's the coolest old dude in the world. It's like I mean, like watch him in interviews talking about the making of RoboCop. That dude is awesome. But
no.
But do you like? No, yeah, I didn't either. Yeah.
No, but, I thought it was a horrible concept, but we promoted it. I saw it. It was. This is where you need to sit down, people, and say, okay, now that you've lost us this money, what were you thinking? And you said yes to this? All of you guys everybody who worked in that movie lived in the 80s. You know when it's over. Some 80s concepts you can bring back. Most of them you can't. And when they look what they try to do. That's why when you do a Back to the Future, that's telling me who wants to lose their job. Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? You're going to take the money and spend it on that. And I hope Zemeckis keeps saying no. You're going to take the money and do it on that. You could be taking that same money and coming up with something brand new, something expanding on something. I'm sorry, wait a minute. 2025, 2026, maybe. I don't know what you're paid to do. You guys are taking these millions and you're trying to relive my childhood and then wondering why this shit doesn't work. I don't know, man. Like I said, no more remakes and reboots. It's just getting fucking old.
RoboCop shit doesn't mean they can't do a good one. Well, and I think another big mistake that 14 made and
was making RoboCop.
Well, another big thing too is like, and this is where I wonder, like, if they could do anything like what they did with Badlands, where it's like, I don't think they could because it's like they don't have like alien creatures to just chop up and decimate with that red blood. But it's like, could you do like a worthy or a effective PG-13 RoboCop? I think that's kind of a
That's it.
That's kind of a dicey proposition because the
No,
whole
it's a
gimmick
dead.
of the whole gimmick of like, I mean, look at the first like big like the Ed 209 scene, the original. Like the whole thing of that is the dude in the boardroom gets like just blown away, and the joke is when the guy says, "Is anybody gonna call a paramedic?"
You know why that worked then? You know why that worked then?
Because
Because
the violence was like so ridiculous, it made it funny.
look what we've lived in. Look at the world we've lived in since 1987, 1989. That's nothing to us now. There's no appeal to that. We get that out of a video game that you can control the outcome of. Just because the latest RoboCop was shit doesn't mean no. What the latest RoboCop tells you, I don't think just like the latest Crow. Oh well, that Crow, if you'd have done this, and this, no. The reason why when it's a bad idea from concept, it doesn't get better. Bad ideas don't improve with age. Once you start out with a bad idea, things don't get better. And doing that movie was a bad idea, and it was never going to get better. Because the whole reason you even made that movie was a success of a movie that's 30-some odd fucking years old. That works in some cases, but when it's not going to work, people need to recognize that. And there needs to be, you got research departments. You know, some of those people were in the 80s. They were making movies in the 80s. They know better. They know what works and what doesn't work. Somebody in the course of making that movie knew better and just kept saying yes. And then here you go. So no more RoboCops. All right. Do Back to the Future at your own peril. You're gonna get slaughtered on that one. You think that fan base has handed that same fucking Marty McFly down? They're probably they're grandparents now. Go ahead and fuck around with Back to the Future and try to remake that. Duck. That's all I gotta say is duck.
I don't know if they're quite grandparents yet.
They are literally. If you were a kid watching that movie, you are of grandparent age right now.
No, I mean. It depends on how old you are. It's like if you're like 10 years old, that'd make you around 50 now. So
that makes you grandparent age.
Yeah, that's I don't know. That's kind of on the cusp for grand. I mean, that's somebody.
It's close enough.
Their kid is having kids pretty young if they're grandparents.
But now you're talking about minimum 2 generations that are don't do. You go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it, and then when you got to disappear for a while, it's like you were warned. Let's see. Why are you confused, Bill? Thought on Gremlins 3.
I think. Oh, I've seen the comments. She was like confused, like the whole like phone version versus the show vertical show.
Yeah. It's. I don't know how long I'm gonna keep. I'll see how it goes. Thoughts on Gremlins 3? Don't need it.
Is there one that works?
It's rumored to be one of the work. Once again, here we go again. In isolation, some of these things sound cool. But now you got to sell them to the public. And look what the public has had access to since the last Gremlins was released. Shit, they got Baby Yoda. We don't even need Gizmo anymore. So, but give it a try.
Peter, where's Drogo's thing?
Ho, 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 ho. Boy, you dug that up from the Brad vault of unfunny humor.
Peter Weller he was a great voice at The Dark Knight Returns. I put that his portrayal of Batman Dark Knight Returns, I put that right up there with his portrayal of RoboCop. He was if we're doing like an animated Dark Knight Returns, he was just about, I think, the best voice they could have gotten for Batman and Dark Knight Returns. And it's fitting too, because I mean, go back and watch RoboCop, like all the media break things they have in it, the dystopian future. I mean, RoboCop, the makers of RoboCop, they clearly had read Dark Knight Returns when they were making RoboCop. Yeah, he was. Yeah, RoboCop. It's like you could see like the influence of Dark Knight Returns in the original RoboCop.
I need you to open up the windows. And whatever films that are fucking with your brain right now, I need you to let them out.
You're really telling me you cannot see the Dark Knight Returns influence in RoboCop?
What's happening to my show right now?
No, go watch it.
I don't have to go. I bought Dark Knight Returns off the shelf, and I was there first day for RoboCop. What are you talking about, my man?
I'm talking about it's like you can't possibly miss it if you've read one and watched the other. I'm not the first guy to point this out, by the way.
Well, that means there are multiple people that are
Both
sniffing
people
something.
that are like connecting the dots on something that
There's
is
no dots.
glaringly
What?
obvious.
What the fuck?
I'm gonna Google this real quick and see if like Ed Neumeyer is sick.
I
bet
mean,
you
if you're trying to go basic
I bet
bare
you that's
knuckles
close.
caveman storytelling, then I can match the Dark Knight Returns on the. But what, bro? What? Whatever, dude. Whatever. Listen, if that's the way your mind worked, I
bet
as somebody who
I
saw.
bet you I could find a Ed Neumeyer quote.
Well, I can find a bunch of people who tell me there's fucking elephants flying in the sky right now. But I mean, if enough people are passing around enough drugs.
Yeah, but one is objective, observable reality, and the other is not.
There's no such thing. Okay, I know you took an English class, and I know you're a journalist. What you just said was fucking non-existent. Objective reality, jumbo shrimp,
right now.
Oxymoron. What?
Go read. If you have not read Dark Knight Returns, it's like read Dark Knight Returns, then watch RoboCop. Tell me I'm wrong that there was not a Dark Knight Returns.
Okay, I will. I've done them both. You're wrong.
Okay, go back and when you have been enlightened of the clear and obvious connection, come back. You hate everything. That's a little nihilistic.
I'm worried. Did you hit? You were gone for a day. You must have hit your head.
These.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Sorry. I pulled wrong.
I have always said remakes and reboots. My thing, and I'm gonna make a T-shirt out. When lazy fuck stupid, reboot is the love child, the deformed love child that no one wants to claim. So yeah, that's how I feel about those. Oh, I mean, Robinson Zemeckis has a clause in his contract that Back to the Future can be rebooted. Can't. You mean can't, right? Yeah, you mean can't. Yeah, and I'm hoping he just keeps saying no. I mean, I wouldn't mind just. It's hard for Michael J. Fox to act these days because of his.
Yeah, that's very.
And without him, I mean, I just don't want. I just don't. I don't need it. But here's the thing, though. What do if you're making it for a new generation? Why not just make something new? Why not just make something new?
Okay, here's what I'm talking about.
You're not convincing me of this. This is just
yes. No. Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns is widely considered to have influenced the ideas of a RoboCop.
Okay, all right. First of all, you look your sources some bullshit.
Satire,
look what you're reading from. Look what you're reading from.
Talent, voice acting. There is no possible way you can read Dark Knight Returns, then watch
there is.
And
I've
tell
read it
me
1,000 times.
Cannot see the influence of the former on the latter. It's just not humanly possible,
man. This must be a generation.
There's this too.
Yeah. There's no. Stop it. Just whatever. I mean, why can't you just like RoboCop and and not everything is being. You got to think about wanting to connect shit to shit that ain't the shit. To stop it.
This is blatantly obvious.
It's not blatant. If it was blatant,
there's no. It's not. It's inhumanly possible to deny the connection. I'm sorry. This is
kind of silly, actually.
You can't possibly like. Yeah, there's William Buzz.
My never-ending struggle to be taken seriously as a
right
YouTube channel is being
himself.
laid to waste by Brad's nonsense again.
Everybody, go read Dark Knight Returns, watch RoboCop, come back and tell me I'm wrong.
I don't have to come back. I can tell you right now.
I'm telling these people who are not in denial of the very obvious parallels. And again, the shared talent also.
Stop it. How many remakes are actually better than the original?
I don't know if I call it a remake.
When you redo Stephen King stuff, you're not really remaking it. You're going because the source material is the book.
Yeah.
So you're never going to go back. It's not like Running Man. Well, definitely not Running Man. What's the Total Recall, where they tried to basically, for the most part, remake that movie instead of going back to the short story of We Can Remember It For You wholesale. And that's the difference between a lot of what Stephen King's stuff does. A lot of people go back to it, but they're going back to the source material. So they're not remaking a movie or continuing one of his previous movies, they're going back to the source material and reinterpreting it in their way. So, but when you start doing, we're like Red Dawn's a horrible, horrible, horrible movie. That's one of those decisions that the grown-ups, somebody should have been a grown-up, stood up and flipped over the table with all those scripts and just said, no, we're not doing this. And they didn't. Oh,
You think about RoboCop remake, you could have parallels to Captain America MCU, where Murphy has to draw the line of serving his objectives, doing the right thing, even against his program. Well, that's what he does in the original franchise.
That's every story that somebody comes back at a different format.
That's even, dare I say, as bad as it is. That's kind of what happens in RoboCop 3. RoboCop 3 is really bad. RoboCop, and that's another thing too, is RoboCop 3 is an example of it did the
no, it's not a remake, Bill.
It did the thing where they try to kind of what the Expendables ended up doing later on, where it's like, we want to expand our audience from like the hard R crowd we have, so we're going to PG-13, ended up backfiring horribly because like
for what now?
Ended up RoboCop, like the first 2 R-rated, then 3 is PG-13. It's kind of the same thing Expendables did, where the idea is like we're expanding our audience, but you end up just kind of alienating your core audience you already had.
A core audience that wasn't even that. I mean, the 80s, it just wasn't that thing. It wasn't, RoboCop was a thing. It was a movie. It was fun. RoboCop 2, halfway through it was fun, and then it just became RoboCop 1 with more violence. But it was fun. But it's not. There's no legacy of, it's not like Predators where you had continuity for like the last 40 years. RoboCop was a movie. It was a fun movie for its time. It was a movie that exists in its time. And when you try to pick up that rock and take it into the future, into the present times, sometimes it works. We've had plenty of things where it works, and sometimes it doesn't, and then sometimes you do too many things. Like Indiana Jones, I think Indiana Jones was 2 movies too much. Trying to remake the 80s is what you're trying to do. You were trying to remake the success of Indiana Jones, a guy who could actually do his stunts without killing himself, and a Harrison Ford at the prime of his career. You tried to bring back this old fossil to do that shit again, and it just didn't fly, man. Sometimes it's time to let go. It's okay to let go. Right? It's okay to let go. I don't want to see another Knight Rider. I heard the concept of that. No. I don't need to see the A-Team again. No. I don't. Whatever you got dancing in your head from the 80s, let it dance there. While you're doing that, change whatever you're doing. Change your drug. Do whatever. Come up with something for now. You know why Knight Rider was cool for 1982, 1983? Because it was made in 1982, 1983. Is it so fucking hard to come up with a new idea? Nothing will kill the cinema quicker than bad ideas. Misplaced nostalgia. Prices this, prices that, affordability, that's all part of it. But nothing will drive the stake in the heart quicker than all these fucking remakes and all these continuations of things that are just like not everything needs to be continued. For every Predator, there's about 6 or 7 things that are like, wow, this sounded like a good idea until we started blowing money on it, and then it wasn't. Let it go, man. Do we have to have those therapy classes instead of AA? Do we, in Gamblers Anonymous, do we have to have a focus group to let go of the 80s? Do we have to have people stand up and say, hi, I'm William, and I need to let go of the 80s, but I can't? And then everybody else gets up and says the same thing. We're here for you. We're together. We'll do it together. And every person in that meeting needs to be a filmmaker, apparently. My goodness. Let the 80s go. Yeah, now it can work. What have I always said? Quoting myself. Nostalgia is like a time bomb. Disarming a time bomb. You pull the right wire, everybody lives. Everybody walks away. You pull the wrong one, everybody dies horribly. They get blown to bits. The dogs can't even sniff out the remains to make sure that it's you. That's how bad. That's how bad it can go. So it can work. It can work, but it can go horribly. And more times than not, it can go horribly. I did not like that Kentucky TV show. I thought it was kind of lame, but other people liked it, but it got canceled quicker than that. So. It's a remake because they tell the kid's story first. No, it's still not a remake because that person, both those individuals who did the screenplays and made those were inspired by the book. That's it inspired it did regardless of whether they did things in order or out of order, that's still the It that came out in 2017 was not influenced by the It that came out in 1990. They're similar because they have similar elements, obviously, but Andy Muschietti did not use that as the basis. He used the book. Like I just finished saying, every situation is going to be different for the most part. But what you did with Aliens and Predator is you over the in 40 years, you're not necessarily pulling an old IP out of your ass. You've been making Predator and Alien movies for better or for worse for the last 40 fucking years. We're not, we didn't go Predator. RoboCop came out in what 1987, and then like 25 whatever years is the next time you see it on the screen again. That's not that should tell you something right there. That should tell you you've had the time in between the first time you saw Alien and the last time you saw Alien to see the viability of that franchise. Same thing with one way or another, you have data there, but RoboCop. What did you have that said, yeah? Let's So every franchise is going to be different, but you have to put in the work. It just can't be, oh, I thought this was great when I was a fucking kid. You're a grown ass man now spending millions of dollars of people's money. So yeah, there is a difference, Azteca. Let's see. Best Predator films are Part One, Predators. That's much like my list. William, why didn't the It films cut stuff out of the novel? Well, whenever you handle these things over to somebody to make a movie, things change because now we're no longer writing a book; we're making a movie.
Well, there's one thing in particular they
Well,
probably legally had to cut out.
Yeah, they cut that out on both of them. But when people, and I was, I find people not necessarily irrational, but when people they're loyal to the book, but when somebody makes a movie and there's things that are changed, they get up in arms, and it's like because the Andy Muschietti is not he's not writing a book, he's making a movie. So there are certain things and certain aspects that have to change to go with what his what his vision is for the movie. So then not everything in the book is gonna end up on the screen. Star Wars, Blade Runner, Superman, Batman, Alien, Predator. How many times is Hollywood going to keep reimagining property before it gets old? Star Wars is $1 billion franchise. So when it gets old is when it stops making that money. Blade Runner is still viable. We're still making money off of comic books. We're still making money off of physical media. Amazon's about to make a brand new show. It's won Oscars. It's sold a lot of physical media in the last 44 years. So the math will determine whether that gets old. Now, when Blade Runner stops making money in that regard, then stop doing it. Superman's one of the biggest IPs in the world, along with Batman. We haven't stopped for 85 years. It's still a viable franchise. It can still make money. Batman's the same thing. You can't put everything in this category. See, what you guys do sometimes is you give me a list of the most successful shit that has earned the right to keep going to defend something that has no fucking business even being thought of going. That's the difference. I mean, I could list you the best ones of the last 40 years too, and I could still ask you why the fuck are you doing RoboCop? RoboCop does not fit in any of these categories. Under no circumstances can you use that type of math to put things like that, or give me any other nostalgia. Because, like I said, sometimes nostalgia works. But what you're bringing me up here is not nostalgia. Star Wars, for the most part, you had a gap in technology, but Star Wars has been consistently going on for quite some while. On all these things that you're giving me have been going on. It's not like a Back in the Future where it's been almost 40 years since we had the last one, 35, 40 years since we had the last one. So it's not the same. Getting old means that nobody's interested in it or was not interested in the first place, and it stopped making money. Everything you listed is still making money. It still has interest. Predator 2 is not, for me, it's one of the best ones. It's the second best Predator movie. I love that movie. Let's see. I think Predator proves 80s remakes.
Well, Predator hasn't been remade though.
Predator's never been remade, so that's what I mean. It's not a remake. It's continuity. You've had 40 years, almost 40 years of continuity with Predators, and it's evolved. Sometimes in the wrong direction, but it's evolved. People say that the Harry Potter television series is a remake. No, it's not. They've even said outright that they're going to be more loyal to the books than the films were. But here's the thing, and it drives me fucking crazy. And I said this with the Buffy thing when they were doing the new Buffy thing. The worst thing you could do is somebody who's
put
putting
Joss
together
Whedon
that
back on board with it.
No, we're not. We're being serious here, not joking.
That's dead.
The worst thing you could do to that with the continuity, if you are not rebooting, which is another absurd thing, is to call it a reboot. People have lost their fucking minds and literally gotten dumber because the word has been thrown out and thrown around so many times. We don't even know what it is anymore. If Sarah Michelle Gellar is in this iteration of Buffy as Buffy Summers or whatever, as Buffy, then it's not a reboot. Stop using that word because Buffy fans are super passionate about that show. And you attach the word reboot to that show that they love and have bought their kids up loving, you're going to have some problems. But we've gotten so fucking dumb that we just throw that word around. Reboot, remake. No, that is a revival. If you're going to spend money to get this back in motion, do yourself the favor and do some research on what the word is. Harry Potter was not going to have any problem anyway because it's going to be on HBO. But that person who's doing this is going from the books, just like when Damon Lindelof did Watchmen. He did not do anything connected to what Zack Snyder did. That is not a remake of Zack Snyder's work. Both of those gentlemen went to the novel or the graphic novels and came back with different interpretations. That's the same thing with this is. Stop using those words because it really hurts the project. If you got something, and you're relying, in order for Buffy to be successful, it's relying on the fan base or the next generation of the fan base that knows that lore. And you need to be upfront. If you're doing a reboot, say that. But if you're not doing a reboot, don't hurt yourself with that word. That word is toxic. Don't do it. William, why do we need more Batman? But he's 1940 because he's making money. He prints money. You may not need him anymore, but the general audience continues to need Batman. Batman prints money on all levels. Batman prints money in the papers and staples. Batman prints money on film. Batman prints money. You may ask yourself that question, but the people who actually need to answer have already answered that question. That's an easy one. Yeah, we're not bringing that up. We're not bringing that part up. Whether you get demonetized. I don't want anybody taking my 14 cents away. Let's see. People keep saying Hollywood just keeps making the same shit.
They don't want to take risks. That's why they keep going back to the same shit with these big franchises.
But here now, you see, once again, though, at least they're not rebooting things like that all the time, because when you're talking about the franchise makes money. Why? Because the customer likes the franchises. The customer likes the MCU. The customer likes the DC stuff. The customer likes the Predator franchise. People want continuity with their money because I can always tell you when it comes to these things, when you plop down that money, you want that dollar to be going for more than just experience you're about to sit into. People want to be something bigger than what they're about to sit and watch. And that's why the franchises work. Now, but you can do franchises and not do the same old thing. Predator, Badlands just proved that to you. Predator is a franchise. It just is something very different. It's how you handle the franchise, how you write the franchise. You know, if you're continuing a franchise, I don't have a problem with that. But if you're just doing remakes and reboots and reimaginings, then it's like, you know, at least the franchise for the most part, the Predator, there's a drastic difference between Predator 1987 and Predator Badlands. So they're not doing the same old thing over and over again, in my opinion. Some franchises are. Some franchises are afraid to branch out and become something else. Star Wars. So yeah.
Harry Potter TV series, probably. Yeah, probably will.
Yeah. Well, it's you're combining two successful things: HBO and Harry Potter. So and more stringent loyalty to the books, which even the people who love the movies always want more of. Let's see. I don't know. A lot of people. I mean, that's a tough one. It's going to be that's good. That has like 1,000 different answers there.
Yeah. We should reboot the Sci-Fi Center, boy, if it's a different continuity.
I chose not to bring that up for a reason because. All right, guys, that's I pretty much ran out of shit to talk about. Now we're talking about bad. I can always tell when it's time to end the show when you guys start bringing up bad ideas. That's like this is. I hope this channel is the extent of them. If you're in an office right now, with your paper and your pad or your iPad and you're typing, you're coming up, you're brainstorming, and right now, if you can hear my voice and you're thinking about doing another RoboCop. I got links for you to get help. I got numbers, people you can call to talk to. Don't do it. I don't know how The Running Man is going to do. And that movie was sort of spectacular.
Well, that's kind of another instance. It's sort of like Total Recall, where it's like,
and that's a different one.
The Schwarzenegger movie, and then this is like more of kind of the trying to be like direct adaptation of the source material.
Yeah, and I think, you know, and a lot of people are connected to that. Well, but then again, a lot of people, not everybody saw Running Man too. It's an old movie. It's 1988.
Well, like what is it? Where is it like tend to like rate them at like kind of like Arnold's the popularity of Arnold's body of work? Is it? I don't think it's like one of his. Actually. Yeah, I don't think it's like one of his more highly regarded ones.
It's like Kindergarten Cop is higher than that, I think, and that's
really. I never got as much into Kindergarten Cop as a lot of other people did. It's like I never really a lot of Arnold's comedy I never really latched into as much. Like I said, no, I just never found him to be funny. I want to see Arnold like shooting and blowing shit up, fighting aliens and Terminators.
Yeah. Like I don't. There's certain people I don't pay. Like if Jason Statham starts doing romantic comedies, I'm be like, okay, dude.
The only Arnold comedy I like is Jingle All the Way.
Yeah, it's even what's the other one with the kid?
Junior.
With the AC/DC video, the only thing good about it was the AC/DC.
Oh, the last action hero. No, yeah. That's Arnold's. I think that's his most underrated.
It's not the word. It's a middle of the road movie for me.
It's an Arnold classic.
It's Commando level.
Unintended. Well, Commando's Commando's fun, but it's really stupid.
It's basic. It's like Cobra. Cobra at the time was like, oh, this is fucking cool, man. This is fucking awesome, Cobra, man. These trailers were fucking horrible. We were like, yeah, it's Sylvester Stallone. You're the disease, and I'm the cure. Yeah, I mean, we just ate it up. We ate it up.
Commando is like the point where like Arnold started like. I think Commando, you could pinpoint that's the point where like Arnold they really started like emphasizing like the one-liners and so I'll be.
And just kept using "I'll be back" in every fucking movie. And everybody's
I lied and because that's what people let off some Steve Bennett.
That's what people wanted back then. We were basic, but we didn't require much when we weren't shit. I don't know. This has been a bone of contention.
It's probably back and forth whether or not it's coming out before or after Supergirl. But
stupid. I don't even want to talk about it.
Is it just sometime next year? Is what we currently know.
It's a problem for me, but yeah. See, and that's another thing. When you try to remake shit from the 80s, the one thing you can't remake is the 80s themselves. You could get away with Cobra. Cobra's a fucking awful, 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 awful movie to watch now. But in 1980, whenever the fuck it came out, I think it was 86. We ate that shit up because we needed Sylvester Stallone. Sylvester Stallone had become like an icon to the point where he wasn't the greatest actor of all time, but he was coming. What did we want to see in the 80s? We want to see some shoot people or punch people, one or the other. And Cobra gave it to us. And while I'm watching Cobra, I'm like, wow, dude, I'm in fucking Nirvana.
You know,
years later, when I watched that movie, I'm like, I sat here and this movie sucks.
You know, one of the best moments in Commando is when they're having the fight scene in the motel, and Bill Duke has the gun on Arnold. Like, "Fuck you, asshole!" And he pulls the trigger, and there's no bullets. "Fuck you, asshole!"
Yeah, it's not good, but it was. And then at that time, though, we weren't going to the movies looking for everything to be Scorsese and a Coppola level. We just wanted to see shit blow up, hot chicks, save the hot chick. The hot chick has a boyfriend that's a criminal. The savior has to come. It's just the same basic shit. So when you try to remake this shit and bring it to the 80s and bring it to the 2025, there's a reason why it doesn't work. All right, there's a reason why it doesn't work most of the time. And RoboCop is like the example of something you should not ever do again. Just stop.
But yeah, like Commando, it's like you could
don't do that again either.
But you could do what it's striving to be though. You could still do today, where it's like no, it's not
unique though.
It's blasting guns and like punching people in the
face.
That's
just another movie that'll make. That's
and they've been trying. Apparently, they've been trying to like get a remake of that. Again, I'm not saying remake Commando. I'm not saying remake it. I'm just saying it's like what Commando does that hasn't gone out of fashion.
Yeah, but other people do it better. There's no need. Back when Commando came out, it was sort of uniquely bad, but it was unique. People got to realize where you're at. Look around the world you live in now. We got all that shit. Come up with something new. It's not that you get paid lots of money for it. You paid a lot of money for it. Keep my 80s out of your mouth. Hey, there you go.
Yeah,
I try to tell people, listen, it's okay to let go of the
Commando is like, we should do a watch party of that. Even though it's not sci-fi.
No. We'll watch Cobra first. We'll decide which one's the worst movie because they both suck.
Yeah, but I love Commando. I saw it about. I saw Commando. Because I saw Predator as first saw Predator in high school. I saw Commando probably like about 2 weeks or so later. It's like I saw Commando like really close to when I saw Predator.
Yeah, but see, you saw those on like home video or something. Did you see those? You didn't see those in the movies. I saw.
No,
those
I wasn't born when Commando came out. And I was probably like 4 months old when Predator came out.
Yeah, I saw those in the. Well, Predator was a classic. Stallone, like I said, he was riding the high off of Rocky. Rocky 4 was one of the greats done. I mean, Ivan Drago. We couldn't get enough Sylvester Stallone. We could, and it didn't matter that you put him in a stupid movie. It didn't matter. You had us at Sylvester Stallone starring in, and that was
except unless it's Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
Yeah, because that wasn't action.
Well, but it was stupid.
Yeah, but see what we wanted Schwarzenegger, we wanted Sylvester Stallone. Schwarzenegger out of the world anyway, but we wanted, if we had best, like I said, he had to be doing one of two things, punching or shooting. We didn't care about the romance. We didn't care about any of that shit. We cared about punching and shooting. And in Cobra's complete utter bullshit. But it's kind of like that it was a drug of the 80s, man. That's what we were going for. And we were like, oh, this is cool, cheering that on. I can't make it through 15 minutes of Cobra now. And the first 15 minutes it has the best scene where he goes into the grocery market and that cult leader or that cult member is randomly shooting up the thing.
Commando. It's like,
and he's got the beer. This guy's going in to save hostages and shit. Fucking Nick Cobretti, what, by the way, convenient name. Yeah. So he's this guy shooting at him with a shotgun. And Sylvester Stallone, you know what? Here's a beer. Props open the beer, takes a drink out of it, throws it, and of course the dumb cult member's like, oh, he must be over there now. And then Stallone comes out and puts like 60 shots in him out of a 9-round clip, and it was the 80s, man.
Here's the other thing about Commando is this tells
absolutely
you like
not.
This tells you like again just the meat and potatoes of it is Arnold with guns just blasting away and punching you in the face. The entire third act of Commando. He gets to that island to rescue his daughter, and it's one dude with guns. It's entire like militia of this
and they
South
all
American.
run into the way to get shot by him.
Yeah, now this one dude that you can't take out.
Like,
And he just
take him from an
massacres this
position or
entire
anything like
island
that.
full of like.
They come out, they run out, they shoot, they miss him. How the fuck they miss him at the same range that he doesn't miss them at? All right, guys. So that's it. That's
Again, it's stupid, but it's again it's 80s Arnold. It's entertaining as hell.
Yeah, it's okay to let go of the 80s, guys. It's okay to let go. Let go.
I don't think you're gonna get William on more for this either.
No, absolutely not. All right. Tomorrow's Thursday. Depending on what I got going on, I don't know if I'm gonna have a show tomorrow. I don't know. I might be doing some hands-on work getting ready for Black Friday. So
see if probably not gonna. My theater they don't delay shows like they used to post COVID. Yeah, but they got a late enough one because if it's Thursday, it's just got to be a late enough show for me. But see if they got that.
Okie dokie. Like, subscribe, whatever format you're watching on. Let me know if I should keep doing this dual format that they've given us. And we will see you the next time we see you.
Take us.